Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. So, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Hi, my name is Valerie Francis, and I live here in Dallas, Texas. Now, which one do you want? I'm a jack of all trades, so I have a planning company called Events and Designs here. It's been in operations for about 4 years, and we do anything from corporate events to weddings and a lot of social events. That's our specialty.
So, can you tell me more about Veee Events? Like, what exactly you do and how you even got the idea to start this business?
Well, so I like to party. I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest. I'm a partier. I've always been a social butterfly. I've always been in the social mix. Starting in college, I'm not sure if they have this here in Dallas, Texas, but we were promoters, club promoters, back in college as a way of making a little bit of money. And then I just found that that's what my niche was. I mean, who doesn't like to party? Who doesn't like to have a good time? But, why not get paid for it? So fast forward down the years, I was a club promoter for about a few years while in college. And then when I became an adult, I was doing like events for other people. That's planning events and doing the timelines, doing budget reviews, doing everything to, put together the event. Now I was doing it for free, and somebody told me, hey, you need to, capitalize and make money off of it. But I didn't have confidence then. So fast forward to 2018, 2019, that's when I actually registered my business as an LLC. Now I'm a full-fledged business owner who gets paid to party.
Awesome. So, can you talk about more of your ideal customer? Like, what type of events are you working with, and what type of person would be working with you to, help you or for you to help them plan their event?
My ideal type of clientele is first people who have money. So if you're doing an event, if you have to do a birthday parties or weddings, you're going to spend money. So first and foremost, the ideal type of client has to understand budgets and have to understand that they're going to spend quite a bit of money. It's not 2,000, 3,000 you're going to spend on a whole party. So that's the first idea. And then somebody who understands the concept of an event. Like you can't just wake up and say, hey, I'm just going to go put an event together, or I'm just going to have a party tomorrow. There's a lot of logistics that go into it. There's a lot of things that you don't think about, like contract reviews, budget reviews, walkthroughs, negotiations. There's so many things that go into an event to make an event successful that they don't think about. So somebody who's cognizant of that process is my ideal client.
So, in terms of successful events, like you mentioned, weddings, parties, like what's what's typical, and like what type of venue like are you typically having an event? Is it more like outdoor weddings, or you mentioned it's very like exclusive types of events that are expensive? Maybe somebody that has a large home and a party in their home. Like, what types of venues are you looking at and working with typically?
Event venues, first and foremost, is what I specialize in. Well, you can't really specialize in event venues because the kind of guest count I have, like my guest counts can range from anywhere from 150 people to 1,000 guest counts. So you're looking at big event venues that can hold these crowds. An average event for me, like the last one I did, was 450 guest counts. So you're looking at about maybe 8,000, 10,000 square foot event venue that can hold that many people. So yeah, that's it.
So, like, what would you? I mean, like, obviously, like, it's like you mentioned money, but just like even besides money, like, what makes an event successful? I mean, I'm sure that the host, is probably meeting with you several times, and that, like, like what really does somebody have to do to sit with you and make sure that the event's going to be successful?
There's several things that make the event successful. First and foremost, it's the client. The client's understanding, like I said before, of the event process. Like I said, you can't wake up and just throw an event together. Two is the venue. The venue management has to be, on top of their game as well, have to be on top of their things as well. And number three is just the cohesiveness of the vendors. And the event planner themselves has to be cohesive and have to be organized. And because you're dealing with a lot of moving parts, you're dealing with a lot of people, not only the clients, but you're dealing with the guests, you're dealing with the vendors, you're dealing with the venue managers, you're dealing with logistics, you're dealing with everything, you're dealing with design. So good successful event has to have a successful and organized event planner first and foremost. That's it. Aside everything I just said, that's the very, very first thing. You have to have an organized event planner that knows what they're doing and how to put together these moving parts. And your event planner has to be a problem solver, a quick on their feet problem solver, because there's so many things that happen that are not scheduled to happen. So you have to figure out how to, combat any situations that come along. Like, for instance, there was one event I did. We were getting ready and there was a fire that broke out in the event venue. It was a fire that broke out on one of the centerpieces. I was literally at the other side of the hall. This is like a 10,000 square foot hall. I was on the other side helping the clients get ready. All I heard my microphone, fire, fire, fire. I dropped and I ran. I don't know where I was running to. I'm not a fire marshal. I'm not a firefighter. So I don't know what I was doing, but I just ran. And the only thing I could think of was just get a pitcher of water and just doused it. So things like that, you have to be able to, think on your feet. That's definitely what makes a successful event is the planner.
Yeah, I think it's awesome because I think it's like most people don't even think about all these things that you mentioned, like vendor setup, plan B, like all these things, like, and especially when you're dealing with like large events, you mentioned 450 people. I mean, there is a lot going on, from end to end. So it's like, I guess like I was just, I just be curious because, for example, right, you have people that are quote unquote wedding planners, right? But you mentioned that you do weddings and also large events. So what is the difference in terms of how you're planning these, whether it's a birthday party or a wedding? I'm sure there's probably some sort of difference in logistics or different ways that you're planning it to be effective.
The only difference is the timing. Sometimes a wedding planning, I get like maybe a year to plan their wedding. With special events, social events, you get maybe like 3 or 4 months to plan the events. The same intricacies, the same details go in both of them. But with a wedding, it's more you're looking for the more pretty details. You're looking for like the more extensive detailing. Like, it's not as, with a social event, if a flower is missing or something like that, they won't notice it because it's a social event, versus a wedding, if a flower is missing, it spoils the whole design and decor. So things like that is what it really, really goes into it.
So you're saying wedding planning is that there's more intricacy, that there's more details that you really have to work to make sure everything is perfect.
Yeah. And a wedding is hopefully it's a once in a lifetime event. So everything has to be perfect. And there's a lot of emotions that go on with a wedding versus a social event, because it's a wedding. It's a once in a lifetime event. This is something that little girls have, dreamt about since they were little girls. This is something that mothers and fathers are, looking forward to when they birth their kids. So it's a lot of emotion that goes into a wedding that doesn't happen at a social event. We could have a birthday party next year again. God forbid, we can't have another 60, 50, $70,000 wedding again.
True. Yeah, that's a good point. So what would you say is the biggest challenge that you faced in the business?
The biggest challenge I face in the business is having people understand the importance of my role, and understanding why you need a planner. Like I said, anybody can just wake up and they can't wake up and just plan a wedding or plan a party. You have to have patience. You have to have organization. You have to have a level of detail that a normal person doesn't have. And then pricing, understanding why my price is the price. I'm with you along the way. If it's a wedding, a year. So that price I'm setting is just a year price. You're not thinking about all the time and effort and the man hours I put into it per week. We just look at the overall picture. So having people understand why the pricing is the pricing and why it's so important to have a planner is the most difficult aspect of this industry.
So in terms of, I guess like basically like on what you're saying is more of people are just more reluctant to hire a planner in general. It's more just kind of what you're doing now, right? Like, you need to give people the information to understand why specifically they're going to need a planner like yourself who's experienced, who's done this time and time again in order to have a successful event.
Exactly, exactly. And they don't understand that. They think that, oh, my friend or my cousin, my sister can just plan this event for me or can take over. No, because it's what I've seen in the industry with family members. It's a lot of emotion that go into it, and they're not as invested as a wedding planner or party planner would be. They can just, leave and do whatever if they get frustrated and your relationship continues. But the sole purpose of a wedding or event planner is to have a successful event for you.
Yeah, exactly. So, what would you say, like, how do you get the word out? How do people find out about your business?
Oh, I'm on Instagram. I do a lot of Instagram posts. Like I don't know what I did back then when I was doing club promoting without Instagram. And a lot of word of mouth is a lot of how I get my business. But mostly Instagram is where I get my business. I heard now TikTok. I have not perfected TikTok. One day at a time. I'm still in the Facebook era. So yeah, so it's a lot of Instagram that I get my word out there.
Yeah. So, in terms of Instagram, like, are you running ads, or is it more just like people find your content that you're posting just
Both,
kind of organically?
both. I people did find my contact, but when I'm trying to expand outside of my reach, my circle, I have to do the ads just to get more people out there because I don't want to be stuck in just one box. I don't want to be stuck with just one type of clientele. So you have to do ads to get out there.
So, are you only focused on DFW, or have you ever traveled for events?
Oh no, I travel. I actually have one next week in Atlanta. I travel.
So, what does that look like? Is like, do people just, I'm assuming those clients are probably more so from word of mouth, right? Because somebody, a family member, somebody else saw that you had like a very successful event and they reached
Yeah.
out to you, I'm assuming, right?
Oh yeah. What it looks like, first and foremost, I have to have a team everywhere I go. If I have an event outside of Dallas, I reach out to like event planners in that area, or not even event planners, just put an ad out there. I'm looking for event assistants for the day. And they people looking for jobs. So they actually do respond a lot. So that's the first thing I have to get on ground before I even do the travel logistics. And it's the same process that I do here. Look for venues, negotiate venues, and thank God for Zoom. Thank God for social media. A lot of the things can be done online. I don't have to be there. The walkthroughs, the site walkthroughs, I can, do a virtual walkthrough with the venue coordinators. The only thing we can't really do is food tasting, but I have a lot of faith in my vendor relationships that I have in Atlanta because I did live in Atlanta that I can, trust and say that their food is good or their cake is good or something like that.
So, in terms of scalability, obviously you mentioned that you're traveling to different cities for events. Like, what does that look like for you in terms of growth? Like, are you planning on, hiring more people as you like, and expanding your company? Like, what does that look like in the next few years?
That's a good question. I actually had a team meeting with my team here in Dallas about that yesterday. What my 2024 goals right now is just to first of all, strengthen my visibility here in DFW, since this is my home territory. And then have an instance where my team can start to do events on their own without actually me being at every event. I would like to do two or three events a weekend, but right now I can't because it's just me and like a few of my team members. So I'm in the process of where I'm training them and I'm coaching them on how to do what I do, so we can get more events. And then maybe a few years down the line, have teams outside of Dallas. I do have a team. It's a team, but it's not a strong team right now in Atlanta that we can do events as well. So that's basically my goal, is to strengthen my team in different territories. I'll start here, maybe move to Atlanta, then maybe one more. But yeah, for the next few years, I want to focus solely on Dallas.
What about other parts of Texas? Are you looking at other cities like Houston or Austin, or is it really just Dallas and Atlanta?
I am looking at other cities and I haven't had an opportunity. I'm never going to say no to money. I'm never going to say no to opportunity. So if the opportunity does come and I do have an opportunity or event in Houston, Austin, San Antonio, well, Santa Fe, anywhere, I will be willing to go there. It's the same tactics I use in Dallas that I'll use everywhere else. I'm
So
a
in
very
turn,
resourceful person, trust me. I'm not that kind of person that's gonna say no to a challenge. I love a challenge. I love that. That's me. So I'm going to overcome and get through that challenge any way possible. So that's how I'm going to take over, if I should say.
so like you mentioned that you're organizing all these vendors, which is a lot of work. So like you mentioned, obviously now you have these relationships with them, but even if you're looking for a new vendor, how do you find like good vendors if they're new, if you're not too familiar with them for your events?
Okay, I'm an old source person. The new vendors, I vet them first. I look at their profile, Instagram, websites. If you don't have Instagram or websites, that's a red flag for me. I'm not going to use you. I'm sorry, I can't. You're in an age where Instagram is free publicity. If you don't even have that, we're not going to continue our relationship. And then I do the honor system. I'm sorry. If you do have those two in place, I'll try you out for one event. If I see that you are going above and beyond, that you're getting there early, that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but in a different way, that you're passionate about what you do, I vet them at that event. Then we continue our relationship. That's exactly how I onboard these new clients. And then not new clients, new vendors. And a lot of my vendor relationships I've had for years, so I still keep those on ground. But to vet new vendors, that's exactly what I do. You have to have a profile. You have to go through the honor system. I do a trial run with you for one or two events, and then we go from there.
Awesome. So I obviously now in 2023, there's a big role in movement and technology when it comes to AI. So do you use AI for your business? And if not, like what kind of use case could you see for AI when it comes to event planning?
Oh, AI is wonderful for anything. I do use AI for my social media posts. Sometimes you just don't have the word, like after a full event, you don't have the brain power or the bandwidth to come up with a caption for that party. So literally ChatGPT is my best friend when it comes to putting in some words that will captivate the audience. That's what I'm trying to say. But AI is definitely the way to go. It's making life a lot easier, not only for event planners, but I'm also in the tech world. It has made my tech life a lot easier. In helping me doing things that I usually would spend hours thinking about how to do. But yeah, AI is definitely the way to go when it comes to event planning. It helps. Now I heard AI can help you do your designs and help you come up with pictures, help you come up with all these other things that I don't even know how to use right now. I just use it for the narratives, but there's so many other things that AI can help you do as an event planner, which makes your business a little easier to manage and scalable.
So do you feel like AI, for example, like we see use cases now where a lot of companies have these like high level AI chatbots on their website or Instagram to essentially communicate as an extension of them. If somebody's asking for more information, I think many people are keen to these like instant responses. If it's 3 in the morning and if you're sleeping, they can, communicate with sort of a live person or like a live version of you in the form of an AI chatbot.
Wait, repeat that question one more time.
So I'm just curious, like, have you seen these use cases like in your industry? Like, we're seeing a lot of use cases for these artificial intelligence chatbots, right? Where they can communicate on your website or on
Mhm.
your social media handles, like as an extension of you. Like, I think that many people are keen, and this is kind of like what we're seeing, are keen to see these sort of like instant responses where it's like 3 in the morning and people are like,
Yeah,
reaching out and they want to get a response right away and you're sleeping and these chatbots can respond as like an extension of their
yeah.
company.
I've seen that, but it's not new. Like we've always had AI in the past, but I think people that just haven't realized it was AI. Like even back then, when you even a normal website, when you ask a question, it automatically responds to you. That's AI. Google is a type of AI, so it's not new. It's just more enhanced and more developed now.
100%. I think Chat GPT sort of put AI like on the map. I think many people, to your point, like AI has like been around since the beginning of computers and technology, but it's
Yeah,
like they didn't understand or
they,
realize like what it
the
even
power.
was. Yeah.
And now they do, and I'm glad that it's actually coming into flourishing. It's actually being realized that the power of AI, it could be made, if it could be good, but then again, you could use it to take over the world. But I don't know how. Just depends on the brain power of the person using it.
No, yeah, I mean, to your point, I think AI is exciting, but it's like AI always needs to be incorporated with sort of like a human element too, because like it is people dealing with people, and I think it's important to like, make sure it's humanized.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
What would you say is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this company?
Don't think I wish I would not take things so personal. When I first started it, everything was just personal to me. Whether a client was not happy or a client was, frustrated or a client didn't, I just couldn't meet the client's needs. It was always so personal to me. I'm the type of person that always likes to make people happy. I'm the type that always doesn't like people being mad at her or doesn't like drama or anything like that. Doesn't like negativity. So when I first started, it really took a toll on me because I really wanted to pack up because one of my clients was not happy with something minute. I forgot what it was. Like I wanted to pack up because of that. But the only advice I would give myself now is don't take all the clients so personally. They're your clients. They don't understand your process. They don't understand the process of event planning like you do. So you can't take it personally. You can't always meet their expectation. They're human beings. Human beings have so many high expectations that are unattainable that gosh, even the most perfect person won't be able to meet that. So don't take their negative reviews, don't take their criticisms personal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, especially early on, or even, as the business goes on, it's like when somebody's not happy, it's a learning experience. You take that and say, okay, maybe I messed up, maybe I didn't, but like, what could I do better
What
to
can I do better?
avoid that situation? It's like maybe that type of client, not the right client for me. It's like, it's
Yes.
like yeah, which I'm sure that you kind of can sense that now, doing this for some years, but also it's like, okay, like, maybe next time I'll do this or do that. Like it's always,
Yes.
kind of this learning experience.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
So, like, if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website or social media handles, just best way to get in contact with you?
Sure. My social media handle is at Instagram, V_events_designs. And that's V with three E's. That's what a lot of people always forget. V with three E's. And then my website is www.v-events with a S.com. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram. I don't know the TikTok yet. I'm still trying to I'm still trying to figure out the TikTok way, but yeah, that's the two ways you can follow me.
Awesome. Well, Valerie, thank you so much for your time. We're rooting for you. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. And thank you for having me on this wonderful platform.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Have a good one.
Thanks, you too. All right, bye.
Bye.